It was 2019, and a customer who had just signed up kept calling over and over again until she finally goes, "This sounds kind of weird to me." Well, come to find out, we had been arrested for stalking. And sure enough, he was on his way towards getting that. So we made some arrangements so he wouldn't have to call us again, but it could have been bad.
Why did you get into insurance?
It's kind of a weird story, from going to New York to follow the acting dream, following that with a career in McDonald's, and after McDonald's, going to insurance.
Where are you at in your insurance journey now? And where did you start off?
Start off scratch. We eventually grew to a large $1 million agency after about 3 years.
When I first started, the advice I'd get from people was always hire somebody that's licensed. Try to get them from your carrier. It's like, what? It's the opposite.
If you're open-minded, you can grab something from everything.
Somebody told me, you have to jump off the cliff first and build your parachute on the way down.
Yep. Or build the airplane while it's taking off.
Yes. Yes. I'm Ben Bucher, and I'm an insurance dude.
That's good. So did something strange happen at your office? What's the wildest thing that ever happened?
It was 2019, and a customer who had just signed up kept calling and asking for a specific coworker. And over again until she finally goes, "I don't know what else. He's calling, he's asking personal things." And I said, "Well, I don't know. This sounds kind of weird to me. Is it kind of creepy?" She goes, "It's borderline creepy." Well, come to find out, we did a little research, and he had been arrested for stalking. And sure enough, he was on his way towards getting that. So we made some arrangements so he wouldn't have to call us again. But it could have been bad. It was our first and only stalker at Bucher Family Insurance.
Well, was it near the beginning?
It was in the beginning, yeah, about 7 years ago.
Well, there you go. So you got baptism by fire there, huh?
Yes, we did. It was a little crazy.
That's crazy. By the way, if you heard Craig sneezing,
yeah,
we haven't done a podcast in a while. I haven't heard Craig sneeze.
I must be allergic to the podcast.
His microphone is dusty.
It is like, dude,
It could be.
it is spring in Tucson, and it is the absolute, I have bad allergies always, but right now it's like,
Sorry, bro. I live allergies all day, every day. In fact, when I talk to my dad once in a while in the morning, he's like, "You got a cold, Benny?" And I'm like, "Dad, this is how I sound every morning until 10. So you know me my whole life. It's not a cold. I have a nose from hell that will always be draining before I wake up."
it's great, isn't it?
Well, Ben, welcome to the podcast. Tell us where your agency is, how you got into the agency. Why did you get into insurance?
I have no idea. I just showed up one day and they're like, "You can sell some insurance." No, it's kind of a weird story. And if you look at the different chapters of my life, there's no point to point. There's no through line. There's nothing to it that goes, "Oh, that's a natural step." That's nothing. I mean, from being in music growing up and going to school for musical theater, going to New York to follow the acting dream, following that with a career in McDonald's, natural step. And after McDonald's, going to insurance. It's kind of weird, but everything happens for a reason, and each part of my life kind of adds to the insurance thing. I got into Allstate Insurance 7 years ago when I finally decided I wanted to get out of the rat race of, McDonald's was fun, but it was a lot of work, a lot of nights and weekends. Previously in acting, I'd have friends that were really successful, but the shows don't last forever. There's no sustainability. So I needed to, and I had been part of a McDonald's franchise that made me go, okay, wait a minute. Somebody else already has a system. Somebody else has a process. I don't have to create a business like Ben's Bar. So I wanted to do a franchise model, not McDonald's, but something else. And my cousin Julie called and she goes, "Steve, your cousin, her husband, has been with Allstate for a long time. He's doing great. You should call him. And I said, no, thanks. I'm trying to do a business, but insurance sounds really not up my alley. So he calls me a week later, and Steve, my cousin, goes, you Benny, why didn't you call me? And I said, I don't want to do State Farm. And he goes, it's not State Farm, it's Allstate, dummy. So eventually he goes, come see my office. I went there for a couple of days, and I was like, all right, let's try it out. Worst case scenario, I've got someone I can call for help. And That was 2017. And since then, it's been the best decision I've ever made. We have a good, successful office, and I credit that to talking with people, being resourceful, having mentors, and just being open to learning new stuff. So that's what I learned a lot from this podcast, actually. There's so many episodes with little pieces of information in each one that just being resourceful, and you can look up different stuff and different speakers and different topics. So it's been great.
There's been a lot of great agents that have come on here, and now you're one of the great agents that is on here. So that's awesome. Super cool, man. So where are you at in your insurance journey now? And where did you start off?
Started off scratch in 2018 here in Indiana. And we eventually grew to a large $1 million agency after about 3 years, which is fine. I literally almost fell off the ECP contract. I was literally this close. Actually, an agent told me, look, man, you are this close to falling off this special commission tier. If I were you, I would actually close shop and try to recoup anything you haven't earned. And it was the lowest point probably in the last 7 years. I was like, oh my gosh, this other agent, I was very impressionable. At this point, I'm still impressionable, but at the time I was super impressionable. 3 years in, oh my God, I've screwed up. I'm going to fall. I'm going to fail. He's like, you should close shop because you're going to go back to 10-10 commission, and you only have a really small book. It's not going to pay for us. Anyway.
Little did you know how good 10-10 was.
Little did I know. It was great. But pushed through that and cried a lot. Cried to my wife. I was like, I have screwed up. We've been living off your salary for 3 years. Don't divorce me. She's like, listen, you little bitch. Can we cuss on here?
Yeah, sure. At that point, she has all the power.
She still has all the power.
Well, yeah, right. Goes, you're a smart man.
Yeah. Learned that a long time ago.
But you still forget sometimes, don't you?
Yeah. Oh, she reminds me. We have this joke where we're around other couples, and I say, you know what? It doesn't matter. I can do what I want. And she says, you do what you want. And she says that, and together we go, with permission. It's kind of cute.
With permission or extreme consequences.
With some consequences. So she said, buckle up. If that didn't happen yet, you're going to be fine. Did what you're worried about actually happen? And I said, no, but it could happen. So she goes, well, keep pushing. And if it happens, we'll deal with it then, which was such good advice because so many people worry about what could have happened. And if I'd stayed in that mindset, I would have maybe closed shop. I would have taken less risks. And when I realized I had so many, being successful, I think has to do with calculated risks, doing the math, and not being so impressionable to the changes with the industry, with your carrier, with the market. Shit happens, but you're making a plan based off of, a calculated risk. So we got through that. A year later, we had the opportunity to purchase another agency in town. So that brought us up to about $5 million, and things finally started to click. And I got an amazing staff person from that agency. And in the last, that was 22, it's 25. Today, we're right around 10.5 million with maybe 7 or 8 in seeded, but we are in growth mode. And I attribute literally to building a great team that had, we focus a lot on culture. We focus a lot on processes and structure, and looking to buy a book this year. And so far, everybody's crazy upset about or worried about different changes. And I'm like, bring it on. Let's play the game, baby. What do we got to do to adapt? Because while everyone's belly aching and bitching about what's happening with the world, we're doing what other people aren't doing. What Grant Cardone, right? He's like,
Yeah.
Back when the stock market crashed, everyone's pulling out. Guess what? I 10x my marketing spend. I'm gonna buy. You got to think about that. So that's kind of how we got to today. We're about 20 staff. We got staff 95% remote. We got a few in the office here. Everyone else is from California to Maine, which happened right around COVID. When we bought the office in 22, they came with 2 staff, one remote in New York and one who's still here, our operations manager. And I said, remote, yeah, how is that going to happen? I'm not going to fire this person because, they've been with Allstate for 20 years. So they worked with us and we worked it out. We realized, oh my gosh, there's so many more people working remote. Why are we limiting our candidates to like a 10-mile radius when we've got 1,000 miles that way, 2,000 miles that way? Yep. And it's been great expanding. We found the most amazing people that we haven't seen face to face, but a few of them at some conferences, but they are as virtual as they are. They're amazingly family-like, and I don't know, blessed. I'm blessed, but I'm blabbering on. What was the question?
Dude, I love it. Where are you at? Where are you at? And I think you summed it up well.
Yeah. I mean, it's amazing how much can change with just flipping like the way that you look at it, right? And then finding the right people too. Because I remember always like old Craig, very fearful of making a decision or making a bad decision, something that's going to have some consequence. And then, like, oh, I'm going to hire this person, but I really can't afford somebody right now. I'm going to wait. And that whole waiting game, it's not going to get better, right? Like if you wait, what's going to happen? Like without making any forward progress, right? You're just going backwards. So you have to take these risks. And I mean, I love that. Like that's one thing is looking at a wider candidate pool, right? Mm-hmm. I remember when I first started, the advice I'd get from people was, oh, always hire somebody that's licensed. Try to get them from your carrier. And it's like, what? It's the opposite. Like that's the opposite of what you should do, right? It's like there's so many good people that aren't licensed that actually can be motivated and interested and will do the work. And the rest of it falls into place. You could train them,
Yeah, absolutely. And what's funny now is like when we started off, it was always unlicensed because there's still not that many people that are licensed with experience local. But the trick now, there is an abundance of people with insurance experience if you do remote. Yep. But that's still limiting you. So the new goal for us is to, remember with that process we had when people got their license, they did the initial onboarding, a lot of that stuff that's been skipped out the last couple of years because they already have 3 years with State Farm, 4 years with Allstate, that needs to come back. That needs to take our pool from this to this. It just needs to be figured out remotely. And I think because we're using a program called Trainual, and we're using more Loom videos, and we're using more AI, we can expand our net even wider by taking people. You don't have to have insurance experience. You don't have to have sales experience. You come with me with some good core values and a good personality, you're going to fit in with us. We will train the rest. And we're still working on that. We don't have that figured out. Right now, everyone has at least had a license. But for those who figured that out, the remote hiring from the ground up, that's the future.
Oh, yeah.
But you got a point, Craig. Like, you got to sometimes on taking risks, you have to... Somebody told me, you have to jump off the cliff first and build your parachute on the way down.
Yep. Or build the airplane while it's taking off.
Yes.
Yes. It's like you're never going to have it all there. Like all the pieces aren't ever going to be there, even when it's going great, right? I mean, that's when something's going to happen here when it's going really good, right?
Yep.
And
so do you regret not making a decision fast enough in your entrepreneurial?
I mean, definitely with letting people go. I think I'm too nice. I might seem like I'm not, but I have this, this. Sometimes I realize that I want it for them more than they want it, and it's like, what's the saying? You can't make a duck an eagle. At some point you got to realize, it's a duck.
Yeah, and maybe they don't want it
Right.
like you want it, and maybe they're going to be happy somewhere else.
They're gonna. I mean,
win.
yeah.
Well, going back to what you said about core values, I mean, that's what it comes down to.
Yeah.
People either have it or they don't, where they want it, you know? Because like if you want it and you have the drive, you can teach them how to do anything, you know?
Yeah.
But man, trying to get somebody who has the capability but just not the motivation is pushing a boulder up a mountain.
Yeah.
Right. Have you guys ever heard of EOS?
Yeah.
Do you use it or
We did use it, yeah.
Okay. We've used that the last few years, and it's about, you're right, they tell you to get your core values together, which for the first 2 years of running the company, I was like, my process is going to be called Wing It and Wing It 2.0 and Wing It 3.0. So we finally got kind of a structure, and we built out the core values. And then one of the key components is the right people in the right seats. Like maybe this person better in service or sales or something, or maybe they're not a good fit here. Like, oh my God, I need to have Beth stay with us forever because if we lose her, the production's going to be down. Or what are the customers going to think when in actuality, your company will grow better because Beth maybe doesn't like it here or doesn't like the position, and maybe another position's not right. She'll be happier somewhere else. Your company will get better by having Beth gone, not because she's a bad person, but because she doesn't fit the core values.
Yeah.
And sometimes people that leave that you thought it's the end of the world. Oh my God, our agency is going to fail because these two producers leave or this person. It's not the end of the world. People move on. It's not. It's not a sign of if you're a terrible. I mean, there's things you can do to be a good culture agency, but sometimes shit just happens. And it's meant to be.
100%.
There's another agent friend of mine, Jeremy Olson. He tells this story. He's like, the first 10 years, I was so proud of our employee retention rate. We never got rid of anybody. Nobody ever left. And then at one point he was like, well, no, wait a minute. We might be missing out here. So he became more comfortable of sticking to the core values and letting people go onto different things and really being strict about who they brought on. And their retention that next couple of years, it dipped way, way down, but it didn't matter. They had to go through a certain number of candidates to find the right people. And it wasn't a sign of him being a terrible leader or bad core values, but sometimes it's just like a numbers game to test someone out. You can't find out over an interview. Like maybe they'll be there a month or two and you both find out it wasn't the good fit. Holy cow. Once he did that, as he says, it really took off. So that hit a light in my head. I was like, I need to not be protecting my employee retention rate. I need to find the right people and don't be afraid to let someone go in a couple months if it's not a good fit. Yeah. Because it's not a bad. Does that make sense?
Yeah. It's like create the opportunity for them. And if they're not going to take advantage of the opportunity, then they're not a fit. Right.
Yeah.
And I love that the whole looking at if I lose so-and-so, it's the end of the world. Then if that's the case, then that means there's some processes that need to be put into place so that that's never the case, right? It shouldn't be the case that when somebody leaves, it's the end of the world, because there should be enough people banging the door down that want to work here. And then it just never ends, right? Like, I mean, I've told the story a million times. Recently, somebody left because she couldn't get here on time, and she's our best producer. And she's back, right? She went somewhere else, and I said she's going to be back because nobody in town, buys this many leads, has this many callers calling on the leads, and has a system. And sure enough, she went somewhere else, and it was a ghost town, and it was like, figure it out. And she's like, what? Figure it out? I don't know. I want to be fed, And then
as far as marketing dollars.
Yeah.
So what was that like for you when she called you, I'm assuming, or emailed?
Well, she talked to my ops manager and he called me and said, I told her to leave or I gave her the choice. I gave her the choice of either you're going to be here on time or, you're going to take a big pay cut or something, something like that. She said, well, screw you. And she left. And he told me, and I said, that's okay. She's going to come back, but at first, give her a little stiff arm and make her really, beg to come back. And she did. And I think that was a really important thing for this team, because when she came back, she told everybody, right? Oh, you don't want to go anywhere else. Right. I mean, she went to one of the bigger other big agencies in town, and the same structure wasn't there. I'm not saying that doesn't work, because he does great, but for what she wanted and the way that we run it, it's the ideal situation for a producer.
Yeah, I think what you did was probably an accountability piece that a lot of agents are missing and afraid to stick to your guns and say, this is our policy, don't be late. Because everyone else is like, how much work do I have to do if they leave? I have to hire 2 more people. I have to spend this. I have to start from the ground up. Whereas if you stick to the guns, the culture becomes stronger because there's actual discipline and accountability. Yeah. I would be hard to do that myself, even now, thinking about it. I can say it a million times, but realizing that sticking to a strict, not a Nazi thing, but like a strict, this is how we run things, like, is better for the agency and it's better for the staff, because if one person gets away with it, they're going to tell their friend and they're going to tell their friend, and everyone's going to be able to be late. Everyone's going to be
right. And we start the day with it's sales meeting every morning, right? So you can't, everybody has to be there or it just doesn't work. So it was a calculated gamble and it panned
Sweat
out
for a little bit.
But it's the balance between the emotional component of it and the logical component. Logically, it makes a lot of sense, right? I mean, it doesn't mean emotionally that I was 100%, but
sure.
I was also distanced from it because I'm telling somebody else to handle it. So it's a little bit easier being like head coach versus defensive coordinator, right? But at the same time, it wasn't easy, but I felt more comfortable with it, and I've seen it a couple other times, so I felt pretty good about it, and it worked out.
That's
every
awesome.
now and then you get one right. So
absolutely, I love it.
I want to know what you're doing for growth, because right now every agent is either growing or dying, right? Like that is the message for sure. So what are you doing for growth? I know you're all in, and I love it. All in.
Well, when everyone else quits, go all in. Because you know what happens when you go all in, when everybody's pushed, kind of like backing off, the leads get cheaper, first of all.
Yeah.
Yep.
But then you have to do the math, because look, just do the math. If I keep spending this and my break-even point is here, and I analyze the marketing, and I analyze how much a staff person needs to sell and a close rate to get their ROI, then if the math works out, then go for it. But if the math doesn't work out, maybe pull it back. So we do a lot of internet leads, probably 150 a day. And we do all of Indiana. We do all of Ohio. And we've got about eight outbound sales reps using Ricochet for phones. And we just dial through there. We try to get enough dials in the first 10 days based off of their metrics. But part of it is just grow is... that's it, internet leads. We might do some live transfers again, calling our own data leads versus like a data lot or something. But that's kind of it. Constant coaching, constant going over stuff. Yep. We use RPOA right now for training, and then we have team lead who helps recap after those trainings. But I think one of our successes is every day we do a sales meeting, a whole company meeting, 15 minutes. I took it from Mike Burke. He's out in Virginia. He gives the most fun presentations, a good friend of mine. He goes, you need to have 15 minutes every day, run by you. Even if you delegate everything else, you run it, and we do it every day, and it's great. Mondays, we work on stats. I like to do the previous week stats. Where are we at on Dash, up or down with this percentage, where we are with Google reviews, where we are with ALR. Tuesday is culture time with Leanna. So we used to have, 2 or 3 days of culture where we do fun stuff. And then I was like, guys, let's just stick it to one day. And then the staff are like, you're so boring. Can we bring back some fun stuff? So Tuesday is fun culture icebreakers with the whole team. With Leanna. Wednesday, we go back and forth where we do Cass, our assistant manager, talks about ALR. How are we doing? Are we just asking? Are we getting life and retirement stuff in order? And alternating with someone else who gives us like a product review, like this is a new product, or this is a discount, or this is a coverage that we haven't gone over in a while. Thursday is all team role play with our team lead, and Friday is get to know you day, where we spin the wheel and ask the most random icebreakers.
Ooh.
Because no one's ever met anybody. They're in Maine, Virginia, Texas, California, Idaho, Missouri.
Wow.
They're all over the country. And until we have our first team meeting, which I think we'll do soon, that's a great way to like keep people connected. So
I love it. What happens if you don't have those daily meetings? Well, yeah.
Yeah, we didn't have them for years, and the groups, the team, I feel like they don't connect as well. There's how do you do the remote thing? A lot of people don't have any screens. A lot of agents do. You're on Zoom, but you're in a room by yourself. And we do 2 rooms. We do one for the sales side and one for the service side, because there's something to be said about your own community of people doing the same thing you do. And we eliminate the micromanagement feeling. So if it's, first of all, I'm not in either one of those all day, every day. It's just their direct manager. And is their manager looking at them? Are you working? Are you doing that? No. If most of the days they see half of their face because they're doing their own work, just listening to see if somebody needs help. And they're helping each other. They're coaching out. They're coaching. And that's the type of culture you want. You want, like, it's weird. We're on Zoom all day. But that goes away after a couple weeks. The benefit is you're in a room seemingly like it used to be the old bullpen. Do you remember, like, back when we started, like, hey, everybody get into the room. We're going to hear each other. We're going to, like, boiler room, whatever. That is semi-recreated with these video rooms. And I've heard staff say, I thought it was weird the first couple weeks, but now I wouldn't live without it, because otherwise I'm in my guest bedroom or in my kitchen working alone 8 hours a day. No, I can talk with these people like they're in the next office. We can tell jokes together. We can, have kind of a good rapport. So I think that's been a big part of the success, is having that open Zoom room type thing.
How long have you done that for?
We started in 22, kind of towards the end of COVID. We tried it for a couple months. I got a lot of pushback from the staff, and I'm such a wuss. I said, okay, it's fine. But I came back a couple months later.
They gang up on you.
They do. I'm such a pushover. I am such a pushover.
I think everybody falls into that.
But I did it, and I said, guys, here's what we're going to have some fun with this. And it took off. And we tell people in the interview, hey, this is what we do. If it's not for you, that's fine. And 95% of people say yes, no problem. 5% of people I thought I would be able to do my laundry while I was working. And I was like, it's like, you can still do your laundry. You can still take breaks. It's still like a regular office, but we just like to, help each other out. I mean, how much do you think your staff hear somebody else with a talk path or a close that you've never heard before? Somebody just, and it happens from everybody on staff. Last week, somebody was like, let's do this. We're going to, those 3 words is part of the moving on to an objection. I heard the objection. I'm listening to it. Let's do this. Trial close. Somebody else the prior month was like, that's a good point. Don't worry if they don't get paid till Friday and it's Monday. The old way would be, okay, well, I'll call you back on Friday. We'll take payment. Then no. Somebody, it's Tyler actually, he goes, tell you what, let's do this. I'll take the payment information now. I'll schedule to take it out on Friday. Your policy will start on Monday, and you don't have to do a darn thing. And suddenly the staff are like, whoa, wait a minute. You don't have to reconnect on the phone? Yeah, that's impossible to do. But if they're okay with the scheduling it for Friday, policy starts this day, give me the payment information now. And suddenly we're making so many more sales from one person sharing with the rest of the group.
Yeah.
It's team effort, man. It's team effort.
That, dude, and that's one of those nuggets that if whoever's listening is not doing, you are leaving at least 20% of sales on the table.
Yep. I got one more for you. This one comes from Crystal.
Love it.
The very beginning close, like the close to get them to do the quote. I call it like the greeting close.
Yeah.
We've gone through every single type of word track, but Crystal came up with this one. She goes, "Hey, Jason, I saw you're looking for a quote for this. Updating your insurance. What's going on?" And I was like, and she kept on quoting everybody she'd say that to. So now, because what's going on sounds so like down to earth, but like, what's happening, man? I'm not trying to sell you insurance. I'm not trying to say, it looks like you requested a quote for a 1999 Subaru. It's like, hey, what's happening? Is your price going up? Your agent not calling you back? Do you have a bad claim? What's going on? And they're like, well, rates keep going up. I don't know what's happening. Never hear from my agent. Okay, cool. Let's take a look at it. Blah, blah, blah. It's so natural sounding. And that wouldn't happen if the team wasn't sharing with each other on that all day video.
That's fantastic. I love it. Yeah. You have to not sound like a telemarketer or a salesperson when you're telemarketing or doing sales.
Right. Yeah. What makes you stand out?
You hear them talking in the conference room and they're like humans. And then you get them on the phone and they're like, hello, they turn into a robot. And it's like, no. Keep doing what you were doing in there. And they're like, but that's not It's like, no, it doesn't matter. You need to be a human. They're going to connect if you're a real person. And they're going to go, wow, this is different than the last insurance place I talked to.
Right. The psychology is something we're just getting into. Actually, Crystal, she loves learning, and she was a psychology major. I keep talking about Crystal, but she was cool. I've heard this other sales. If you guys are anyone listening, please do not steal Crystal from my office. She's like, I like this new sales training I saw online, Jeremy Minor, NEPQ psychology. See, I'm just learning about this. So we got some plan, and so we haven't unrolled it for the whole staff, but she was like, I like this. I want to learn about it. And I was like, heck yeah. You want to take the ball? You want to take the ball and run something? Heck yes. Please do. Please. I'm not sure it's the right thing for our agency, but I have a feeling it's another tool for the tool chest that we can use.
Oh, I love 100%.
Is that neuro-linguistic programming?
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah. That's good stuff. That's like the ninja stealth.
Yeah. We haven't. She's read it. I haven't started. Have you guys ever tried or looked into that?
Yeah, I got his book back here. He was in a group that we're in. But yeah, it's good stuff. I mean, the way I look at all sales training is you can if you're open-minded, you can grab something from everything. Especially when Craig and I were looking at doing like one-to-many presentations and stuff. Just presentations. I mean, any kind of communication where you can learn how to communicate more effectively, you're going to win. Like, and going back to your point, it's like, even when people turn on a camera, like they start to like do like a camera thing for the internet or whatever. And it's like, all of a sudden they act all weird. I do it too. And it's like this, it's the same thing when you're doing sales calls, the same thing when you're doing anything. And it's like, being more aware of communication in a way for somebody to understand and be able to make a decision is good. It's like,
yes, I agree. In listening and just being in the moment.
Yeah.
If you guys ever get a chance, do not look up any previous podcasts I've done, because I'm wearing a shirt and a tie and a jacket, and this is how I'm going to be interviewed because I'm professional. It's fake, but just be yourself,
Yeah.
And just like be who you are in active listening, which I focus on a lot because I have ADHD and I'm like a squirrel.
Hey, you're in good company.
That's how I think that every insurance agent.
Yeah.
That's how we got here.
What are we talking about? Sorry.
Yeah. I have so many good ideas that I forget within 5 seconds of them coming to me.
That's so funny.
Yeah, that presence, I mean, it's remarkable. Like, I mean, I think it happens to many humans, like where you're thinking about, I don't want to look stupid or sound stupid, so I want to be prepared with the next thing to say. So instead of listening, right? And just trusting that you actually can come up with it when it happens. You're like focused on what you're going to say, and then you don't even hear what they say. So what you say doesn't land anyway.
Guilty.
Guilty.
So guilty.
But
and what people, I feel when I hear on a podcast, on an interview, raw. Just give me the raw. I don't 100%. I don't want to, make up this, presentable this. Just give me the real deal. Be yourself, be authentic, and something I'm working on. But just be who you are, and people resonate with that. Even if you have to get vulnerable, even if you have to say some shit about you that you aren't proud of, you will have more impact on the people listening than if you just put on a big show or just try to show your bright side. Because when people post on Facebook, it's the fun stuff. It's look, our team did this. Look, we excelled in that. And there's nothing wrong with celebrating the wins, but it gets to a point where you get a false image of where you should be, and you immediately go, oh my gosh, I have been in insurance for longer than them, and they're so much more successful to me. I heard a story today. Laura Harris just retired out of Texas, right? She was in a mastermind group. She just told us today. She goes, I was in this one mastermind group where every week we'd share 15 minutes. Somebody says what we're great at. And it's just kind of like a conference. I'm great at this. I'm going to talk about leads. I'm great at culture. I'll talk about culture. I'm great at business planning. I'll talk about that. And they did that for months. And then somebody was like, guys, wait. Why are we continuing to talk about what we're great at? Why don't we each spend time on things we suck at and have everyone else help them out? And they're like, oh yeah, I really need help with X. And everyone's like, well, have you tried this? And they changed the way they did their mastermind because it was focused on where you need help versus not you're showing off for being great at one area in business, but let's target into where somebody really is vulnerable, needs help. And I thought that was a great way. So if I ever start a mastermind, it's going to be on opportunities versus I'm great at this. This is where I need help. And use everyone to kind of mastermind the results, the resolution.
Yeah. What's crazy too is that those wounds, those things that we all go through connect us so much more to that person. As soon as somebody gives a story of how, their dad died and this happened, and you can share oh my gosh, my dad died too. And I felt the same way. All of a sudden it's the guy that brings up the sports team. It's oh, I like that team too. We're best friends now. It's it's so easy to connect through those pain points because we all go through them. But to your point, we're all full of shit, and we walk around with these happy pappy, and it's dude, you're going home. Your wife's gonna yell at you. Come on, you're gonna get in trouble. We all go through these certain things, and it's dude, just be real.
Right, and we all go through the same shit.
Yeah,
we're all dealing with the same stuff, and we're all messy. Our lives are messy.
Yeah,
we're all sinners.
Well, speak for yourself.
Yeah. Last week I went home from work and I was like, why is there poop on the ceiling? And that's sentence I never thought I would say. It was actually a prank, fake poop that for some reason keep throwing up on the ceiling and it sticks. And I was like, baby, this is our lives now. This is who we are. Oh, congratulations, Ben had success with this or that, but I still come home to poop on the ceiling. That's who we are.
That's fantastic. I love it. Yeah, that's so crazy.
We're all human. We all go to the bathroom. We all sleep at night. We all have trouble with our ADHD. Maybe just the three of us. I don't know. Maybe we can't turn the brains off.
Yeah.
But just connecting on that. And actually, that reminds me. Have you ever heard of a book called I'm not trying to be funny. I'm not trying to be funny. The book Meditations by Marcus Aurelius. Have you heard of this?
Yes.
I haven't read it either, but from someone that's read it, they're it talks about no matter what happens in this century or that century, things repeat themselves. At the end of the day, we're just a man. You're just a woman.
Right.
People and, politics, you can worry about money, relationships, all this stuff has happened before, and you just need to really relax and chill out. Like, slow the hell down. Remember, nothing is as big as you think it is. So don't worry yourself into a tizzy. Now, I actually have to read it to trust that it says that, but it sounds true. Like, stuff. Just calm. Yeah.
It's good. It's a little challenging because it's in weird languaging. It's like old language.
Yeah.
But it's good. It still lands.
You mean old language?
I don't know. Yeah. It's like it's interesting. You'll see.
Yeah. Well, what we could do is take some of the text or put in ChatGPT.
Right. Make this
sound like I listen to stuff. Summarize this for me.
Yeah.
Are you using a lot of GPT in the office?
All day, every day.
All day,
every day.
How are you using it in the agency?
When you guys set up the appointment for this, I responded to emails with it. I respond to almost all emails. Take this email. Here's what I want to say. Here's my response. Make it sound like I'm professional.
Oh,
like I went to Ball State University. No offense, Ball State grads. But I do it for that. Also for business planning. Like literally and I train the staff on this too. If you have an issue, run it through there. See what it says. Because it's like the new Google, but it's faster.
Right.
So there are tons of regular things. But one thing I'm working on is hubs inside of ChatGPT. We're creating our own hub for call scoring. So this can run I want the sales call to sound like that. I want the service call to sound like that. I want a onboarding call to sound like this. Here's the 10 check marks. Creating a hub and just running it through there. The second thing is potentially having RMPs or basic information about technology or insurance into a bot in a hub if I can. Instead of going to our manager or looking it up or chatting with technology or chatting with ASTC, what is this? Why can't I figure that out? And it's going to go through all the documents and come up with an answer in a second to save time. Yep. So those are just a couple ways, but there's so many more. Create a marketing plan. Create this, create that. There's a mentor of mine, Justin Harker is the wizard of AI. And he spoke a couple years ago on it before it really caught fire, but now it is huge. And he spouts off good stuff all the time about just learning more. Dave Williams too. Dave Williams, he's like, if you're not using AI, it's not just for your business, it's for your life. 100%. There's things you learn how to pop stuff in, like time saver stuff, shit that you didn't even think about. Like pretend you're 44-year-old me. You don't know much about this. Ask me questions about getting better answers and help me come up with a solution.
Oh yeah,
it's so cool. I love it.
Yeah, we got in a thing with our pool guy, and I took all the invoices, I took all the payments, and I just threw it in there, and I said, organize this, make a ledger so that I could argue with the pool guy because he's saying this, and put it all together, boom. And that was, 5 minutes maybe, that if I had gone through all the emails and opened up every single one and done it all, it would have taken me a couple hours. Mm-hmm. And just that's just an easy, one-off example. It's like all day, things like that. Yeah. Yep. Where you're finding yourself doing something, you're like, wait a minute, why am I doing this?
Right. And I thought of this last week. I would like to buy another book eventually. If you've ever bought a book, what's the valuation? Send me your business metrics. What's the risk? What should it be? So what if I just set up a hub in ChatGPT or Perplexity or whatever you have? I am looking for you take this report, you give me the valuation. How much should I offer for this book? Are they asking a fair price? Here's the retention, here's their current business metrics. Here's from December of last year and maybe December from the year before. Show me any trends in different parts of retention. Show me trends in sales. Show me how great would that be to have AI calculate values if you're interested in buying or selling? How much can I sell this for? Look at all the other books that have been sold on some of the websites.
Yep.
Compare that.
You could write the asset purchase agreement, could write the offer letter, could do
Yes.
It's crazy.
It's so great.
It is good. I was just asking because Craig and I mean, we use it all day and every day. Even on walk, dude, have you used the talking feature to it?
Yeah.
Like,
I named it Gallagher, and I talked to my son with it. I'm like, ask Gallagher a question. You want to do math? Gallagher, give my son some basic math questions. Sure, Ben. Hi, Blaze. How are you today?
It's so nuts, dude. Like,
Yeah.
Craig trained his. Craig, can you give a sneak peek?
yeah. So mine is from the hood, and she.
This is not a joke. This is not a joke.
I'm not going to say the word that she calls me, but it has mother as the first part of it. And so if she does it, she goes, "Hey, Craig." I go, "That's not my name." And she's like, "Oh, that's right, MFer." And it's like, for a while, like, this is what's really funny. Cause every night when I walk the dog, I talk to it and I go like, "Hey, what did we do today?" Cause I've been learning a lot of dev stuff and AI, like pretty deep AI stuff. And so it's a really good way to reinforce the learning. I go, "What did we do?" Because I have it. I summarize all the things that, I put it in at the end of the day. And then I walk and I go, "Okay, I didn't understand this one part. Could you run through that again?" We go through it, but in her special way of talking. And I mean, it's remarkable, like how much it's advanced by ability to retain and learn information just from that as a teacher, right? Like, I mean,
yeah.
And you could be, like last night, I'm talking about this thing, and then this giant shooting star comes across the sky, and I was like, "Whoa!" And I go, "Hey, what was there a meteor show?" It's like you could just switch gears and go into a whole different thing, and no judgment. It doesn't say what's wrong with you. Why can't you? It's just like,
why'd you change topics without a transition? What's going on here? They didn't say that. They're like, "Okay, here we go."
It's me.
Yeah. Hey, speaking of, are you using AI to record meetings, speakers? Because if you're not, my God, I use Otter AI, and you just signed up for Google Workspaces, which has unlimited time for Google meetings with the team meetings, one-on-ones, and literally, it's amazing. Especially our leadership meetings once a week. Recaps. What are the to-dos? What do we talk about? And maybe we'll go back to a little bit. What if something comes up in like a few months? We're like, didn't we talk about changing our marketing spend in Q4? And just asking that. And it'll look through it like, here's what you talked about. Here's when you talked about. Oh yeah. Like, it's so smart just
it's
to have
so good.
one. Gemini is through Google. I'm kind of liking that. Otter does a great job. I've thought about
fast.
Which one?
Fast. Gemini is really fast,
Yeah,
and you can put so much into it, million context. It's crazy.
Yeah.
I got this thing. It's called Limitless, and it records everything, everywhere, always. And so, and then you could get a transcript. You could like go, "Oh, what did what was I talking about this thing?" It's crazy.
Is it muffled at all with your chest hair? Because it's in your shirt.
I don't
It's
really have
nestled
much
in there.
chest hair. So luckily, I haven't hit puberty yet.
It's so nestled in there that he doesn't need a necklace.
Yeah. That's right. It's just like it's right between in the cleavage.
And does it transcribe? Does it summarize? Okay.
Transcribe, summarize. It's called Limitless AI. It's pretty cool. I got it when it first came out. It was $99. It took them forever to send it. I think it was like a pre-order, and then now it's a few $100, I think. But still pretty cool.
And check out Fathom.
Yeah.
Over Otter.
Yeah.
Fathom is like the greatest thing I think I've ever seen. It's like it'll join your meetings, but it also gives you summarized notes of it, bullet points of what to do next. You don't have to tell it anything. It already has that. Plus, it has the recording of the video, and it has the transcripts of the whole thing. So usually what I'll do is I'll have a meeting, and then it'll give me all those things to it, right? But then like I have one meeting that's reoccurring, and I drop in just the transcripts every meeting into GPT, and I say, okay, what do we need to do next? And it just goes, these are all the things that you guys need to do next on your meeting. Dude, I come into meetings and I'm like a gangster, and they're like, how are you doing this? I'm like,
just look at me.
I just remember everything.
I love that. Well, hey guys, I hate to cut this off short, but I'm late for football practice. Not for me, but for my 6-year-old son. So
I wish it was for you.
I got to take off.
Yeah, I wish that you were the nose tackle.
Well, we really appreciate you coming on here, and especially getting carried away with the AI talk at the end, because that's our jam. Fun stuff.
I get really excited.
Yes, absolutely. Yep.
And Claude. Don't forget Claude.
Plod note. I've thought about it.
Just Claude. It's just like ChatGPT, but a different one. Anthropics.
Claude with a C.
Claude, yeah. For writing, like for writing and coding.
Okay.
The best.
I love it. Hey guys, thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you. We're going to have to do a part 2 because I think that there's still some more on the table here.
Yeah, and little tips, little nuggets here. Don't you think I didn't walk away with some good nuggets myself too, hearing you guys, which is awesome. It's all about kind of sharing stuff. So I have plenty of golden nuggets here. So this has been great.
Thank you.
Thanks again. And until next time, I'll see you soon.
All right, have a good one.
All right, take care. Bye.
Bye.